Hi guys. So following on from Pastor John's devotions through Revelation, going forward we're planning to bring you a devotion once a week on a Wednesday, and we're going to be looking at different psalms, and we've asked different people to be involved in that, to share their favourite psalm with us. But today I just want to share something that's been on my heart for a couple of weeks. So 7 years ago I ran my first marathon. I'm pretty sure as well it will be my last one. But as I was training, someone gave me a piece of advice. They said, don't bother training up until the 26-mile mark. Train about 20 miles, because you'll find on the day that the last 6 miles kind of just take care of themselves. Let me tell you, the last 6 miles do not take care of themselves. So on the day I was running the marathon at 18 miles, the guy I was running with bailed out because of a knee injury. At 20 miles, I hit the wall. Now you might have heard that phrase. It's a phrase that runners use to describe a point in a marathon where you just don't feel like you can go any further. Like you've hit a wall. You feel like all the energy has been sucked from you, and taking another step forward would just be pure struggle. You just want to stop. You just want to give up. Now we've been in lockdown for a number of weeks now, and maybe for you it feels a little bit like that. Maybe it feels like you've hit the quarantine wall. Maybe it feels like all the energy has been sucked from you emotionally, psychologically, maybe even spiritually. Maybe you're really struggling in your relationship with God. And so the question is, how do we push through? You know, in a marathon, the truth is you only get through the wall if you're able to see beyond the wall, if you're able to see and to keep in mind your goal, the goal that you're aiming for. If you're not able to do that, then really you don't have a chance. You have no incentive for pushing through the wall. So how do we push through this wall, this quarantine wall? Particularly if it's affecting us spiritually in our walk with God. Well, a couple of things I want to share with you just briefly. The first is, and a few months ago as a church at Garstown, we studied the book of Hebrews. And Hebrews was basically written to Christians who had hit the wall. They'd hit the wall when it came to their faith, when it came to struggles in their lives. And so the writer to the Hebrews is basically saying to them, look, the way that you keep going, the way that you push through this wall is by putting before you Christ. And he presents Christ as one who came and one who overcame. He came and he identified with us. He suffered like we do. He faced the hardships that we do, and therefore we have a high priest who's able to empathize with us, sympathize with us, and offer us the grace that we need. He came, but also he overcame. He went before us. He defeated the walls that we couldn't break through, the walls of sin and death. And he's sat at the right hand of God. And so we keep going. We push through, says the writer of the Hebrews, as we fix our eyes on him, the author and the perfecter of our faith, the one who can give us the grace that we need now to keep going. And so he's saying, fix your eyes on him. That's how you push through this wall. That's how you keep going. That's how you get the courage and the strength to take the next step. But there's another verse that really struck me, and a truth that really struck me, and that's in Galatians 6 verse 9. And in that verse Paul says this, he says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Now this comes in the context of Paul talking about sowing and reaping. The fact that what we sow in one season we will reap in another season. It's the law of the harvest. And the question really is, I wonder, what are you sowing in this season? What are you using this season for? You see, I think if we're going to get through the wall, we need to realise that this season actually isn't just a season that we need to push through, but it's an opportunity to sow well for a future harvest. For example, if you want the joy of a deeper relationship with God, then can I encourage you to sow now? So now, take seriously, perhaps in a way you haven't previously, the spiritual disciplines. you want to grow in God, if you want to grow in the fruit of the Spirit, if you want to become a more generous person, then sow generously now. If you want to be a more theologically formed person, then sow into that now, and begin to sow and then anticipate the joy of the harvest, of what you will harvest in the next season. You know, in Hebrews 12, there's a verse that says, "For the joy set before him, Jesus endured the cross." In other words, he's saying that Jesus was able to push through. He was able to endure the cross because he set something before him. What was the joy that was set before him? Well, it was the salvation of the world. Jesus, because he set that before him, he set the goal before him, he was able to endure. He was able to push through. Can I encourage you to set before you the joy of what you will reap in the next season? Set before yourself the joy of having a deeper relationship with God, or the joy of being a more generous person, or the joy of being a more theologically formed person, or whatever it might be. Having that before you will help you to push through the wall and keep going. Paul says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Keep going. We're praying for you. God bless.